Good morning, Seaside. It's nice to see you guys today. So this morning we have David Yankaskis holding the light for us. And this means that he's going to be holding the consciousness, holding the space for this morning's service. So thank you, David. New members, pick up your name tags in the back in the family room. They're beautiful name tags and they've been waiting for you, so make sure that you pick them up so that you can wear them. Solutions for Change. So we're working with Solutions for Change, which is a program that helps 150 families, homeless families, in San Diego and in many other areas. So what we're doing is that we're collecting Halloween costumes. So if you have any gently used Halloween costumes, or maybe you want to go to a dollar store and pick some up, they're collecting Halloween costumes from infant to age 14, so that they can also enjoy in the festivities this Halloween. October 29th, we have a new member class. November 5th, we have new member Sunday. On the 19th, wait for it, we have a Sunday chili cook-off. I know, I haven't seen anyone pull out their phones to put this down, so I'm only assuming that you're waiting until after service to be very polite, to put this into your phones. And then we have a Gene Houston video this morning. Gene Houston will be here on this stage, in this space, on October 13th at 7 o'clock.
So we all go through one or another kind of dark night inevitable to the condition of being human, but we don't have a sense of what is on the other side the next morning. And what I'd like to talk to you about and work with you in very deep ways is how to get to the other side of that morning in which there is new life, where it's almost like a new world, in which you are able to deal with really remarkable ways that are coded into our human capacities, coded in our cells, in our psyches, ways of doing and being that may seem new to you, but then allow us to deal creatively and courageously with the great issues: death, taxes, loss of the loved ones, sense of futility over the world. We can go on and on and on. The sheer muchness that meets us today on our everyday streets of life to be lived in the 21st century. So I'm going to be preparing you for a lot of the new challenges. They sometimes say that big-time challenges are just opportunities and work clothes. So friends, we're going to be putting on these work clothes. We're going to deal with the big, big issues, but we're going to deal with them in such a way that they become illumined. They become not just grist for the mill, they become the energetic soil from which we grow into people who can truly not only solve their own problems, but people who can make a difference and be a beacon to others, to be a radiance to those that they meet who are in need. So please join us at the magnificent Road Conference Center.
Whew. I know, I'm excited. And with that being said, I was having this wonderful, beautiful conversation with Donna and Jess, and they're going to come up and they're going to share a little bit of their experience with Jean Houston.
Good morning. We're here to encourage you seriously to give consideration to joining us Friday and Saturday and Sunday to be with Jean in her work, because we know that every single one of us is a genius, every single one of us. And we don't often give ourselves credit for that. We don't often develop that. We don't often live with that in full enough ways. And Jean will bring that out and encourage us not only to see that in ourselves, but to see that in one another.
Her work gives you the sense and sensibility and the experience and the realization that your life is bigger, richer, and deeper than you have experienced to date. And I can say that because I did her work for 5.5 years as the coordinator of the mystery school. So I was able to see that in 150 students every single year, because that's mystery school is a year-long commitment. To be able to see that kind of go through the course of the year, it changes your life. It cannot not change your life. So if you're in a place now where you're ready to make a serious shift in your relationship with yourself and the world at large, then you definitely want to do at least the Friday night, but clear your schedule because you're going to want to do Saturday too. Thank you.
It's magic.
There you go, you've heard it. So if you're ready to put on your work clothes this weekend, we're selling tickets in the back. And with all that being said, we're all going to stand up and greet your neighbors.
1, 2, 3.
Please remain standing for the congregational song. true. All right. Thank you, Rebecca. Hey, Rebecca, did you tell Sheila E. you're busy this Friday night?
I told her I was already working. I'm going to be here with y'all at Seaside with Gene Houston.
Woo, priorities are right. I'm so grateful. Thank you. All right. Hey, good morning, Seaside. Woo! What a joy it is to be with you. There is just fire in the air. There's life. There's love. There is excitement here this morning at Seaside, and I am so grateful you are here. Your presence makes a difference as to how this whole morning unfolds. That's how valuable you are and important you are. So to help move us to that deeper place, we have a wonderful practitioner, a recent graduate being licensed this summer, and that is Audra Nicole. Take us there.
Good morning, beloved family.
Good morning.
Let us close our eyes and go into the stillness together. Just feeling that goodness vibrating in our bones, knowing that we are love and we are peace. Right here and right now, I know the goodness, the purity of the one divine. I know that it is the thing that moves all things, breathes all things, is all things, and has its being in everyone, in every way. And of this goodness and of this truth and of this great majesty, I know that I am one with. I know that I am the place that God is, the peace, the love, the joy, the hope, the glorious expression of all that is well. And as I know that for myself, I know that for each one here. I know the magic of this morning, of this beautiful Sunday together, in community, in gratitude, in joy, and in play, knowing the power and the strength and the truth of the words that Dr. Christian has for us this morning. I know that they resonate deep, and it is so good.
And that is our beloved Rebecca J. Thank you very much. And thank you, Audra and Max. And it's just sitting here in the state of grace and gratitude. They can feel that presence and that life force. And just my heart goes out and want to welcome you if you are here for the first time. Know that Seaside is a welcoming place. It is an affirming community. Wherever you may be on your spiritual path, know that you're welcome here. We care. It's a place without judgment. And we are here to support one another as we explore within and take it out into the world in which we move. And if you are here for the first time, we've got some guest packets for you outside. When you walked in the door, feel free to pick one up. Inside is a magazine, as a CD with some basic ideas from me about our philosophy. And also, the first Sunday of the month after the second service, we have the basics of the science of mind. So if you have questions, it's the place where we answer them for you. So there's a lot of good that's going on at Seaside, and one of the things that is very exciting is that our TV ministry, or our live stream ministry, has moved to a whole new level. As you remember, last year we upgraded the screen and the quality and the projector, and then the live streaming has moved from just a single camera shooting in the back to we have 3 different spots where the cameras are going, and we have the Crawfords in the control room switching the cameras as we speak from one to another, and it looks like the real deal. I mean, Joel Olstein has nothing on Seaside. And so I just want you to be aware of these 2 individuals that are heading up a team that is fabulous, that changes. It's everyone has volunteered their time, and they have got a grand vision. Both of them won Emmys for putting Terry Cole Whitaker's show on. I think it's 3 or 4 Emmys total you guys have won. Come on up, share a little bit about your vision for our Seaside streaming. Richard Crawford, Sally Crawford, we love you.
My lovely bride, we've been together for 40 years. And having more fun than ever. So what I wanted to talk to you about is the passion we have for what we're doing, the excitement to have this opportunity. The whole world has changed in such a way that it's hard to even catch up with what's really going on. When we did the Terry Cole Whitaker show back in the 80s, it was the very first metaphysical telecast ever. We're teaching these insane things like the law of attraction. And when we did that show, Sally and I would have to rent a video truck out of Hollywood, which was a 16-wheel diesel with a big trailer in the back full of a production studio. All the monitors, everything you need to broadcast out to the network. Well, that truck now, that whole complete studio that's there is right here. That's it. So now what that means, not only do we have these tools now to be able to do this here, but we're able to reach the world. 70% of the world is hooked up online one way or the other, cell phone or whatever. That's 5 billion people. So instead of reaching our local community, we're going out and reach the entire world. We can push one button to turn into Chinese. We can push another button to turn into German. And the show will be translated immediately into foreign languages. Is that hot or what? So we've got 2 minutes. I'm going to wrap this up. But I just want you to know that we're here to support Christian. I believe we've been with the Seaside for 19 years now. We love him. We know he's a great talent. He is that voice. All of us now have a common voice supporting the ministry, supporting the TV, and getting Christian out in the world. Because, you know, the only way we're going to shift the way things are is keep raising our consciousness and raising the consciousness of the world. And he can do it because he's it, and you can do it because you're Seaside. So that's what we're all about. My dear wife, Sally, wants to talk to you a little bit about how we're going to make this work.
One of the things I want to say is it's up to all of us here to share Facebook, social networking with our friends to get the word out. And that just takes one simple step on Sunday morning. If you're coming or not, share on Facebook the Seaside's Live so that people around the world can see it. And another way we can also contribute to the live stream show growing is through Amazon without you spending one single penny. Every time you buy something on Amazon, if you go to Amazon Smile, which you'll see in the program, there's a feature on it, and we always have it up there, is just go over to Amazon Smile, click on it, and pick Seaside as your contribution, and you will receive, Seaside will receive a contribution from you just spending money on Amazon. And I don't know how many people here use Amazon, but
Let's see,
I
show
know
hands. Who uses Amazon?
I know that over the last year or year and a half, I have contributed to Seaside over $250 by just buying something on Amazon. So that's one way we can do it and share it. We can share it through social networking and just share, get the word out, because it's up to all of us to do it. We have the show now, we want to make it better and better, and that's the only way we can is through contributions.
All right, so the last word, Dan Pykopoulos, he was in the first service this morning, met him in the Men's Business Club, meeting our Men's Breakfast Club, and he contributed, he said, what do you need next? We said, we desperately need a 3rd camera. So he contributed the money to buy the 3rd camera, which we turned on today for the first time, the one in the booth over there. And And he also became the very first founding member of the Seaside Ministry Television Producers Club. And anyone can be a part of that, contribute something, $10, $20, whatever, but that'll help make this thing move out even much faster. So thank you very much for your time and attention. And Dan said that he'll put up whatever money you put up, he'll match it. So let's get something going so we can get another computer and stuff that we need. Thank you very much. Thank you, Christian.
Job, guys. I'm very excited. Keep going, Richard. Woo. Visionaries, for sure. You know, and they push me, that's for sure. And I just love where we're going with this and what we're doing. And so any way we can support you. Want to pray? So as we unite together right here in this moment, I can feel that power and that presence, that excitement, that aliveness, that ability to touch hundreds, if not thousands, to be able to touch the world right because of what is going on here in this very moment in time and space. For I know right now that as we share this and we share it on Facebook, make sure you check in here this morning, but as we do, it goes out literally to hundreds and hundreds, 500, 1,000 people today because there's a life. There's a message. There is a new thought that is needed for our world at this time. And because we have come together in a time such as this and allowed ourselves to be vulnerable, to open our heart and our soul, we begin to experience the divine download in ways that are relevant and right and real. And I know right now that Spirit unfolds its expression as our very experience. And so we open up to the gifts that unfold here today, this morning. They personalize the touch in our very experience. So being excited to receive that, we go forth into this time, feeling the Spirit in our heart and our soul. No longer an exterior thought, but an inner vibration, a sense, a feeling of that which is indescribable, but yet so real. Count me in for that, God. Here I go. So it is. Amen.
All right. Well, good morning, Seaside. It's my honor, as it is every Sunday, to introduce our guest artist. But that was so great to hear that actually from the Crawfords, because now it's like we can bring more people, keep sharing the message. I love it. So our guest artist, we love her so much. She was so great when she makes the drive down from Los Angeles to be here with us. And she's just a wonderful spirit, wonderful person with an incredible gift of singing. And she does have CDs if you're moved by her music, so please see her after the service. I did want to share a couple things. So she actually just recently recorded in the studio that's part of a commercial that I don't know if it's out already or coming out, but it's with Cher. So she actually is singing in a commercial. So if you see a commercial with Cher, you hear a beautiful voice. One of those voices is our very own Gia Chambodi. So, and I just learned she's actually in Prac 1 school. So excited to hear that as well. So awesome to be, growing in the movement as well. So anyway, without further ado, please help me welcome Gia Chambodi.
I haven't even told my family. Come on. Oh, wait, you are my family. I'm supposed to count this off? Good morning. I'm thinking of the other song. What am I doing? And it goes like this. Baby, don't look down. It's a long way. You're up so high.
Gia Giambatti, Being God's Dream. Woo! My, oh my. I'm so glad, man. God dreamed that as you. Woo! Oh, man, it's just hot up here. I feel like bouncing. I don't need much of that. I got enough of that. Woo! A little warm over there, huh? Oh, wow. That was a great one. I really like that. It's moving through me. That's perfect. Let's see. We're wrapping up Jean Houston's book here today. We're on her last chapter of Jump Time, and it's about the signposts on the road to the future. And, what signposts are you reading? What is it that you're focusing on? Do you like what you see? Do you not like what you see? What are you doing about that? And Being God's Dream, that song's still going through me. It's like, Gia's just so outside the norm of songstress around here, and I just love it. And I heard it once said that never allow the norm to be the baseline for what's possible. Got that? Because usually the norm is the baseline for what's impossible. You got that? So when you're using the norm, this is how people do it. You're not going to go beyond that. But as you begin to realize, you know what, there's something inside of me that is more than that, and I got to go outside this baseline. I got to begin to stretch to begin to experience the impossible. Because people haven't been there yet doesn't mean it's impossible. Ernest Holmes talks about not allowing your future to be bound by precedent. You cannot allow the precedent to stop you when you have something stirring in your soul that wants to express itself. You got to listen to those signposts that are within your being. Say, keep going, keep going. A classic line from Alice in Wonderland, where Lewis Carroll has the Red Queen saying to Alice, "Why, sometimes I have believed in 6 impossible things before breakfast." When was the last time you thought of 6 impossible things before breakfast? Me, it's pretty late by now. I've been up since 3 in the morning. I've been talking. But I got to tell you, I truly believe that it is possible that we have a world that works for everyone. I believe that is a world where peace can prevail. I believe that truly our children can live in a world that is safe for them. That we, as Callie was talking about last night with 150 people here for that big event, that, that we can actually give our children's grandchildren an earth that is healthier when they inherit it than when we got it. I believe that our schools can be a place where there is creativity in the arts and self-expression, that truly Seaside is a thriving spiritual community that works for everyone, where our children are fed and loved, where we come to heal and expand our vision of what is possible. All before breakfast. And so what you get in life are some of the guideposts that say, hey, you're on track or you're not on track. And what is it and how is it that you're looking at? Because I'll tell you what, I've got people, or I hear people, or I've done it myself, that there's a belief that it's impossible, which kind of just seals the deal before you even get going. They say, oh, yeah, I believe in this. And then they go out and act as if they do kind of believe in it. And they'll do the affirmations, they'll do the meditations and talk the talk and look at their vision board 3 times a day. But inside, there's something that doesn't believe that it is possible. What it takes for you to do is go beyond the baseline, to go beyond the norm, is to believe that there is something that is possible here, even when the world is telling you it's not. It is up to you to choose to believe in something greater, to be that place of the divine download, because it is difficult to believe sometimes when the things are pointing in a different way. This week, Las Vegas. What a shock. Horrendous. Very sad. And it breaks my heart, and my love, my heart goes out to those that lost their life, to the family of those who lost people, to those that have been hurt and impacted, many whose lives will never be the same. It is absolutely sad. And what signposts are we looking at there? Because I don't think that it is just something that happened because some shooter decided he needed to take out whatever it was. But rather, I believe that what's going on in our world is a result of a consciousness. Like in our body, if something's out of balance there, it tells you. And if you don't listen, it gets louder, right? If you don't listen, you get sicker. If you don't listen, you really get whacked over the head. Well, I'll tell you what's going on as a guidepost. What took place in Las Vegas is there's something that's in consciousness that exploded like this. It is something that's saying, you know what, we're living in a culture of violence. We're living in a culture of anger. We're living in a time when a congressman running for office this year in Montana can punch a reporter who's asking him questions and still be elected to the office. We are living in a gun culture here in the U.S. Our country was built on a gun culture, the Wild West. We walk into the saloon with our gun on our side. Aren't I cool? You know, bigger ego, more powerful. That's what seems to win around here. But you know what? That is not the culture that's going to bring peace to our planet. It's not going to bring resolution. That's not going to assist our children. It is going to fester until we begin to look at it and say, you know what? Something different has to go into consciousness here. If somebody can create a horrendous and hideous crime and everybody knows this individual's name, and there's hundreds of heroes from that day, hundreds, literally heroes, how many of their names do we know? Those that threw their bodies on their loved ones to protect them. Hundreds of heroes. We're talking about the one deranged thing. We've got to listen to our heart and our soul, begin to look at the guideposts and recognize that something needs to shift in the collective consciousness, and that it begins with myself. And as I begin to embrace it, I got to realize my anger cannot control my decisions. That I will not allow fear to dominate my life and take me away from living in a sense of joy, in a sense of happiness, in a sense of trust, in a sense of love. The signpost for me is, you know what, there's danger here, and it means that I need to come out in trust and love and light, because the darkness cannot stay if there is light. And if we are choosing to be bearers of light at this time, we will make a significant difference, because the answer here is spiritual. You know, and that looks like moving through our hands, our heart, our hands, and our feet. It means it's moving through us to speak out. I mean, how... I look at machine guns. I'll just speak it out here. Whose really their sole purpose is to kill human beings in war-torn areas. Its sole purpose. How in the world can our congressmen fight to keep that in our hands? As we begin to take a look at the signposts that say, hey, take a look, and say, hey, let's talk about this, and you got people say, oh, this isn't the time to talk about it. I mean, it's like a controlling parent. You know, your heart's broken. This is not the time to talk. You bet when your heart is broken, that is the time to talk, to feel, to go deep with our emotions and say, what's going on here? It's not one person. It is the tip of a collective consciousness that says, if you don't listen to this, it's going to get louder. That is right. And so it's time for us to speak that. And so we're the ones who got to create the space for Spirit to show up. When we get caught up in our anger, our resentment, our anxiety, we want to control the situations and the outcomes and the thinking and the thought, and not have the conversations that push us into areas that we're uncomfortable. All of a sudden what we're doing is we're not creating room for God to show up. You got that? If you have got anxiety, you've got worry, and you're trying to hold things in place and not be present, you don't have the space for God or the presence or the higher thought or the greater possibility that is beyond the norm or the baseline heretofore. We've got to open our hearts and our souls and become available to the presence of God for a shift to take place. Because there is a shift that has to take place, and it can be instant. Remember, it's an old story about a woman who was at the airport, waiting for a plane, and she got herself a bag of chocolate chip cookies, a little bag of chocolate chip cookies, and she started eating it, and she thought she'd like some coffee. So she left her bag and her cookies and went and grabbed some coffee. And as she came back, she saw this disheveled guy, looking kind of homeless kind of guy, sitting there eating her cookies. It's like, excuse me. And so she sat down and she just took a cookie from him and ate it. And then he took a cookie and he ate it. And she took a cookie and he ate it, or she ate it, and he took it until they got down to the last cookie. And he got the last cookie and he split it in half and he gave it to her. And she was just disgusted. You're splitting the last, it's my cookies. And so, she got up in a huff, boarded the plane, sat down, buckled in, got into her carry-on baggage, grabbed her book, and there behind her book was her bag of cookies. She had been eating this disheveled, homeless-looking guy's cookies, and he was so gracious about it, willing to share with her in her dirty looks and her dismay and her vibes with this guy. You don't think that instantly shifted her around? But I got to tell you, you get rid of your vibe. You get rid of your fear. You get rid of your anger and your disgust. What happens is the light shows up. Love shows up. Happiness shows up. You don't have to put them there. What you just have to do is create space for it. And then you begin to get these signposts. Say, wow, I'm feeling better. Whoa, things are moving in the right direction. I am sitting next to one of my brothers here. Yeah. But you have to be open to the possibilities because you're dealing with your life, but you're dealing with a collective consciousness that impacts all of us. And I've got to tell you what, we're moving forward in life. Jean Houston, in her book on jump time, from the last chapter we're working with, she talks about catching a vision 60 years out of the world that we live in. So that would make it 2077. That's kind of cool era. I should write a book, 2077. Anyway, but it's being open to possibilities. It doesn't mean you have to go with every possibility, but are you open to the possibilities of something greater? She said, would we discover a world ruled in 2077, okay? So would we discover a world ruled under some form of planetary governance with nations as states within a world federation? Kind of sounds like Star Wars, huh? Would the stress of overpopulation have driven humanity out into space as seedlings of stars? Would human lives be vastly longer, our cells linked to machines, our minds capable of merging with vast knowledge banks? Would science have shifted its paradigm from machines to living organisms? Would we have win-win world where almost everyone had access to the physical and spiritual nourishment, education, and opportunities? So here's the big thing that goes with that. Whether you agree with where it's going or not, or whether it's going there or not, are you open to explore those? Here's the big thing. Whatever it will be, and whatever will be there in the future owes everything to what we do today. So here's some questions. How then can we as jump time players contribute toward the regenesis of society? What can we do to help create a social order in service to life rather than to the economic forces? And here was Callie's question the other night with 150 people. She said, what is the world that we would like our great-grandchildren to inherit? Are you open to be used? Because we are in a time of regenesis, repatterning, redoing, refreshing, realigning. Something needs to change or it's going to get louder. The signposts are there. Are we paying attention? Hey, I don't want to go this way anymore. So you know what? I'm going to change. It's not like that big of a deal. I'm just going to shift and move over in this direction. How do I do that? I open up. I create space for the divine download to show me something new. And one of the exercises Jean does in her classes and her workshops is about getting you in touch with that space that is really beyond clock time. Her exercise is she has you go into the subjective, and she starts off by taking a minute and having you sit there in your subjective, opening up to your activities, your travels, your ideas, the people, and see how much you can actually experience in that minute in the subjective, which seems a lot longer than a minute of clock time. And then as you develop that, you begin to move it into 5 minutes, and you work with it to develop your skills. Like athletes will do it, performers, artists, entrepreneurs, inventors. They go into that space and they begin to create a lot in that short amount of time. They are no longer victims to time, but rather players in time. So I was thinking, you want to try just the 1 minute side of that? You want to give that a shot? Okay. All right, then. Then just relax. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. We're going to take 1 minute in the subjective. Breathe in. And as you exhale, just allow your inner space to, see your activities, the events, the things you enjoy, your travel, your ideas, your business. Just take a minute and allow these images to come to your field of awareness and allow them to flesh out, fill out. That's 1 minute. Did it feel expansive? Did it feel like it was more than a minute? I didn't even get to 60 and I'm counting up here. But that's what begins to happen as we play in those inner dimensions. You begin to have fuller experience in a shorter amount of time. You can take care of a month's worth of projects in a few minutes, maybe. But, that's what we want to do, is learn to go there and not be the victims of the time crunch that we are in, but rather we can plan out, see, experience in a fuller experience. That's what athletes will do, shooting hoops over and over and over in the mind and the consciousness and get out on the court. I mean, you still got to get your hand, you still got to do the actions, but all of a sudden you are in sync with something. But not only do we want to work on the inner space, Jean feels it's valuable for us to also work on the outer and develop our skills in our mind and our consciousness. And she says what's essential is, or important, or a good practice is to learn 2 new skills every year. That's not a lot, is it? Though I've been working on Spanish a lot more than a year, but it keeps the brain engaged for sure. And I'm contemplating learning a new computer program. Don't tell anybody around like Ed around here, but that would be a couple new things. What something new could you do? I know Callie's taken up cross-country skiing, developing a new skill. I've thought about art and sculpting and clay and big carvings with wood and berries and tree trunks. And what is it that would keep you engaged and active and alive and dynamic? So the signposts keep coming up, and life is good, life is new, life is exciting, life is dynamic. Count me in for that direction, God. I'm not going to sit there with the headlines, the worry, the anxiety, the fear that continues to pull one into the death spiral, but rather I'm going to open up to what is possible, and I will find my whole being repatterning. It is right. Here's scientific proof to that. A psychologist, Dr. Ellen Langer, did an experiment with a bunch of old guys. And she found these guys who were in their prime in the 50s. And she rented a retreat center and went retro. She turned it totally back into the 50s. I mean, it had Life magazines with what was going on in that era. Saturday Evening Post was there, had the radio playing Nat King Cole and Cole Porter, and had Walter Cronkite coming out on the black and white TV. The couches were from that era. The pictures were from that era. The conversations the guys had was about Khrushchev and Castro's rise to power and Mickey Mantle and just it was totally in that. And at the end of the 5-day retreat in which these guys hung out, spoke together, they did a measurement. And they compared it to their being measured going into these 5 days. And at the end of the 5 days, they measured their height, their weight, their flexibility, their mental capacities, their sight, the sound, and all of them increased by at least 63%. They even became taller as they stretched their spine, as they became more alive. we have that proof that there is responsiveness in the physical form that says, you know what? Yes, bring life back into this body, and you will find a path that is exciting, dynamic, and wonderful. But you're the one who has to have that shift. You can't stick with the baseline that says, hey, that's impossible, man. You're over the hill. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Your future is not bound by the precedent. You know, did you believe in 6 impossible things before breakfast? Yeah. I don't eat until 1 on Sunday, so I still got a lot more to fill in my thinking. I remember growing up, my dad was my hero. He was invincible. We'd walk out in the woods at night. I'd hold my dad's hand, and I don't care. There could be hoodlums or bears. I knew I was safe with my dad. He was just superhuman. And when I was little, he'd throw me up in the air like, you know, most dads do and catch. I never thought about him dropping. You know, as only as I used to throw Trevor up there. I thought, Dad, man, that was like pretty dangerous stuff. But, for the most part, unless our dad was Superman or mom Superwoman, it's like at some point, we're probably not being thrown up in the air anymore. Something has shifted, and parents aren't quite as invincible as the 3-year-old thought they once were. And if you grew up with Christmas, there was this jolly old dude who brought gifts, and something shifted at some point where that belief began to change. Except in me, I still get stockings, so I believe. But what I'm getting at here is that we have the ability to shift a belief that we believed so much in. And that's what needs to happen if we want to change the signposts. And hopefully you're paying attention to the signposts, which is a reflection of the consciousness, your personal collective consciousness. It's not just usually one simple belief that says, oh yeah, everything's well, when you've had a lot of experience saying it's not. It's something inside of you that has got to stir and move and groove and expand. And as it does, you begin to contribute to the collective consciousness. The quantum physicist tells us that we live in a holographic universe. You ever hear that one? Some of you. Okay, that's a book, yeah, Talbert. But anyway, if we're living in this holographic cosmos, holographic universe, it means that if something takes place anywhere, it shows up everywhere. That's what holographic is. You take a little piece and it has the whole, and you break up a holographic image, even the little piece has the totality of it all. So anything that happens in anywhere happens everywhere. That is the dynamic gift that you are bringing when you're willing to shift your consciousness and move from fear to faith, when you're willing to create a space for a greater understanding and insight to show up because you have chosen to sat for a couple minutes in the subjective field being receptive to spirit with a greater idea of what is possible. You are open up to that force of nature that you can't see, but we know it's there. I mean, I know it's there. I see it all around. I just saw some images from our place in Costa Rica, devastated by the rains and the water from Nate that went through there. I mean, not our place, but our place, the front yard's all underwater. People are walking through the driveways halfway up their calves. The ocean is wild and meeting the estuary. The power's been out. The water's gone. Water's come in our ceiling and our front walls and ceilings. It's pretty crazy, but nothing to those that were caught in the mudslides, and the bridges are out. It was hit the hardest it's been. And got this palm tree in our front yard that usually has coconuts on it. And it has no coconuts on it. It experienced the forces of nature, and they're gone. But you know what? There's something inside of me that knows that knows how to produce more coconuts. That coconuts are going to multiply. And I don't think it's because the tree knows. I think there's a force of nature that moves through the tree, as the tree, is the tree. And we don't really know what that is, but we call it a force of nature. We can't see it. It's invisible, but we can definitely feel it and sense it and see it. And, you can't make a coconut happen. I don't care if you have the billions of Buffett, you still can't make a coconut happen. You may think you can buy them at the store or grow them, but there's a force of nature. There's a life force. There's an invisible something that is moving, and it moves through you, and it moves through us, but we've got to be open to the possibilities. And those possibilities, yes, are like vitamins. They are, take that, yeah, man, I'm going there. Now, it may not get me all the way to where I'm going, but you know what? It moves me from where I was over there. All of a sudden, I'm filled with the excitement, the energy, the passion, the something that gets me moving and grooving so I can begin to be used by the presence of God. And you can use this force of nature to support and magnify the anxiety, the fear, and the headlines. Or you can begin to open up and say, if Spirit is omnipresent, it's right here, then what do I need to know here? You know, what is trying to be spoken to me? It's easy to blame someone, something, but it is a result of something else, always. But what happens is we get pointed, and this is the problem. Yes, you need to eradicate the immediate cause, but there's something deeper behind that. And as you get quiet, you begin to see it, you begin to sense it. And so I've got an assignment for you this week. Actually, it was Jean's assignment, and it's how she ends her book. But, you know, she has us envision the earth. You know, things really changed to jump time in the 60s. You know, when the astronauts went out and they took the picture of our Earth from outer space for the first time. It's the first time we looked at being looked at. We realize that it's one planet we're sharing. It really doesn't have borders from outer space. You know, it is one planet, one people, and we're sharing this together. In the 60s is when the ecology groups really started taking off. It's when, you know, we started hugging trees and kissing the ground and attempting to save the whales and other species going extinct. Something happened there, but it also happened in the human force where we started to take a stance for peace. We began to respect life in a greater way. We began to open our hearts and try to understand in a new kind of a way. And so what Jean asks us to do, and this is your assignment, I can't have you do it now. If it's class, I'd have you go outside, but when you leave here today, I want you to, sometime this afternoon, to lie down on Gaia, good old Mother Earth, and just feel the pulse and the vibration. You know, when you look from space, you could almost feel the Earth alive and pulsing through the asphalt and avenues and the urban jungles and the concrete forests of downtowns. All of a sudden, you could begin to realize that there's something alive that's there. I want you to lie down on the ground and feel that aliveness. I want you to feel that which is beyond the norm, because there is no baseline when you open up to the infinite, because there is no norm. We are all unique expressions, equal in our gifts to bring to humanity who we are. I want you to feel on the ground as if you are wrapped in the womb of the divine, that you are matrixed and mothered into a greater expression of who you are, that truly this is a moment for which you have been called, and that you can become recharged, remembered, and realigned, and regenesis, and repatterned, and enlivened to step out into the world when people are in their fear, that you get to bring the light, because you have been called here for a time such as this, and it's up to us to do it. And Mother Earth will remind you who you are. I love you. Hey, let's keep it going as we bring Gia back to our stage.
closer than your hands and feet is in everyone you meet, holy, perfect, and complete. My indwelling spirit is the sweet, still voice inside, sees me with a loving eye, dries up every tear I cry. I'm knowing, knowing in my heart, and I know it, some call them angel voices inside. How are you guided? I have come to keep expanding to a higher height. Ooh, a brighter light. Some call them angel voices inside. Tell me, how are you guided? I've come to keep expanding to a higher height, to a brighter light. I'm knowing, deep in the stillness, I am knowing. Don't you know, knowing. In our hearts, we are knowing, always knowing. Seeing that your smile and your style and your free, where you walk, yeah, we are knowing.
That is Gia Giambati. Woo! Man, she knew it today. So did we. That was just incredible. And Gia, you were like on fire today. That was just, both of them were just, so good. I like that. Wow. Oh, God, I've lost track of what I'm supposed to do next. Though I will always come back to remembering this, and that is the collection. And it's something we do every Sunday. You may have noticed. And actually, it is a wonderful opportunity for us to feel the richness of our being. We're able to feel the joy of what it is like to be part of the flow. of being able to express, to be able to support Spirit's work, and to collectively, we're talking about collective consciousness today. I want us to get that this moment every week is what creates Seaside. We are in this together. And so as we choose to participate and be the activity of Spirit in our life, what we find is just a richness, a security, and a peace that comes knowing that that life force, the force of nature, is moving through us. And so I invite you to listen to your heart and to give from that place, from the fullness, from the overflow, that you're opening up more space for the flow of the infinite to show up as your life. So as you feel that into that question for your givingness in this moment, I want to invite our ushers to come forward and say thank you to this good-looking crew. And thank you to those who mail in your contributions on a Sunday. It's greatly appreciated. And those that remember us with the auto tithe, the regular systematic support. That consistency helps tremendously with us making it through the ebbs and the flows of what is going on. So grateful to you and your commitment to the regular support, and when you're gone, to catch up if you haven't been engaged with that. So I just thank you, and thank you to those of you that are home. Today is the official launch of our new phase of live streaming, and you make a difference. It makes us feel good. I understand there's about 36 on our website watching, and anywhere from 500 to 900 on our Facebook watching. So we know that we're making a difference in the world because people keep tuning in. So we love you. We know you're there. Keep writing, keep supporting, and keep us apprised. You guys are powerful. Look what we are doing. That's that pulse. That's that resonance. It is that which goes out from this very moment. So let's unite together in this wonderful pulse, this life force, this something that transcends time and space, where time expands and we become to be players in the timeless, no longer victims to the constraint of time and the fears of lack and limitation, but rather we play and swim in the realm of the infinite, knowing that we get to be the conduit in which it shows up in our life. And so I choose to follow the signposts in my life that reflect a consciousness of a good and of expansion, a culture of caring and kindness and love and generosity. And I choose to be an expression that is a positive light upon this planet, and choose to share that in all places, for truly each and every one of us is that avenue of that God expression. And so it's in this moment we take a look upon our world and feel the abundance that has blessed us and graced us, and we share this blessing with a joy in our heart and our ability to be able to say yes to the desire of that expression that is moving through us. And so with joy we give this, knowing it continues on those currents, bringing the joy and the blessings and grace to everyone who comes in contact. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, for this moment to be able to be a practicer of the spiritual truth of circulation, not a hoarder, not a manipulator, not one who's trying to figure out how to do. It's just being an open conduit that's ever expanding to greater levels. So with joy, I let it flow, and so it is. Together, let's say this affirmation of abundance, which is: Spirit continues to bless my world. Gratefully, I live as the giving expression of Spirit, opening the floodgates of the affluent flow of greater good as my life now. you guys from Seaside. Nice job, guys. And so as I stand before this bounty, I can feel that pulse of love. I can feel that caring and compassion and that support of the spiritual message to get out, to enrich, to help transform the collective. For I know right now in this holographic universe that it is in this moment of the heartfelt giving that this in this moment is true everywhere. And so in this wonderful flow of life, we become recipients of the wonderful flow that just brings a sense of well-being. We continue to be that wellspring in which that inexhaustible pours forth into expression in those ways that are right and perfect and relevant. I say thank you, Spirit, for bringing this awareness into all that I do. And so it is. Amen. So it is. All right. Hey, this is Richard Drutman. He is your board vice president, keeping a good eye on us. Heading up those ticket sales with the two Karens back there, so good going. And speaking of good going, Gia, you're just always wonderful, but today you're just on fire. Both of them, fabulous. Yeah, yes, yes. And Rebecca, always a joy to do Sunday mornings with you and have your hubby Rico here with you today, checking you out. So always a joy. And giving us sound today is Ed. Giving us the visual is Marv. Great job, guys. Appreciate you for sure. I just appreciate the guys and the women on our live streaming. Thank you very much. And there in the control room are the Crawfords, who have great vision, who have continued to stick with us. They were here putting it on network TV 15 years ago. Now they're putting it out to the world and help them out. Always could use support like the Smile. Amazon Smile, it doesn't cost you anything, and it takes dollars to buy cameras. We got a new camera this week, thanks to the generosity of some people. So, hey guys, how's it going? Good? It's happening? A few more things. Flowers, gorgeous. Callie and the sisters, big party last night. 150 people coming together to honor this earth, to raise consciousness, and they left flowers all over our community. So we're grateful to that. Also, let's see, we have got a fun project going on. The Community Solutions is in North County, and they help house families that have been displaced. Right now, I think they have 161 families in residence somewhere, and they have over 300 kids who are looking for costumes. And so what we're asking is for Solutions for Change. That's the organization. They asked if we could help them with costumes. So if you got costumes that you don't quite fit in anymore, or your children have outgrown, know that there's a lot of children who would like that. And we have a spot in the back that you can bring the costumes. On the 21st, they're coming to pick them up from us. So if you got costumes, share that. You'll make a difference for sure. Also, Wednesday nights, very hot spot here. We got the Power Up service. For those of you that were here on Wednesday night, a lot of us were. It was powerful. It was uplifting. It is a dynamic midweek pick-me-up that is just enlivening in so many ways. So that's available if you want that. And then Saturday, we've got Pride by the Beach in Oceanside. We got Edwin and Kimberly, who are holding down the booth again this year. It was so much fun. I loved it last year, but I'm with Jean over the weekend. So if you're not with Jean, between 11 and 5, Edwin and Kimberly are down there, and it's a wonderful experience to be part of that. So let me talk to our kids, but make sure you pick up your Jean tickets. It's the last time you're going to hear me saying that or asking that. Give yourself that gift. You know, you saw it written up in the Encinitas Advocate this week, found it in your driveway. You found the Life Connection, a wonderful article in there. It is all over. Friday night, get that ticket if you can. And if you're really good, give yourself Saturday and Sunday. Okay. Hey, what you got?
We learned about our spirit animals.
Spirit animals. Wow, what's yours?
Hawk.
Wow, a hawk. Very cool. What was your spirit animal?
Rabbit.
Rabbit. You know your spirit animal?
Mine was a dolphin.
Ooh, playful. Kind of matches Seaside. Anybody else want to share? Yes? No? Oh, yes.
My favorite animal is a cat.
Nice.
Mine was a weasel.
Ooh, Sophia. Wow, well, that's wonderful. Hey, let's share our affirmation with our kids, which is, see you We love you. We support you in your magnificence. Took me a moment to get to it. Let's do it again together. We love you. I love you guys. You're the best. All right. Hey, I'm going to pray. Any of our spiritual practitioners, please stand. I just want to allow us to feel this upliftment of energy, of life force, the presence, that power. If the divine moves in this moment, feel it, sense it. For there's something that is moving here that is divine, it is magical, it is spirit. It is the truth, it is a life force. It is that pulse. It is that all animating energy. And choose to walk in balance with that. Choose to be the transparency for its expression. Choose to be an expression of light and life. And operate in a culture of kindness, not only with my spoken words and actions, but with my thoughts. For I want to resonate with a divine frequency that operates beyond words. I want to be part of a new coherence, the regenesis of society. And I know I cannot say one thing and think something else in my heart. I will no longer gossip and belittle and petty and calculating. Talking privately over here and saying something different over there. But rather, I am going to be a congruent expression of the divine presence of God that moves in this moment. And know that it is beautiful, it is right, it is glory, the Spirit itself. And it's in this resonant field that healing happens, not because I'm telling Spirit what to do, but in this holographic universe, I am the recipient of the inevitable outcome of the wholeness and the well-being and the abundance and the light and the life and the joy, the self-expression. I am confident in who I am as I walk this world, and with that comes all that is necessary to support that. I live with a lightness. I walk this earth lightly, appreciatively, co-creative kind of way. And what I find is the world in which I live reflects the light, the joy, the love, the wholeness, the well-being, the abundance, the sharing, camaraderie, the friendship, the neighborhood. The world in which we live is beautiful, where healing happens. Because I do not use the norm as my baseline, I open up to the infinite. I am able to hear in new kind of ways and allow my hands and my heart and my head and my feet to be used by Spirit as the divine download in this world. I'm grateful for the good that's going on and for this beautiful spiritual community known as Seaside that continues to grow, continues to thrive. That this Friday night with Gene Houston is a tremendous success and the gift to this North County, bringing in a luminary of consciousness. Knowing every prayer request that has been brought forth is answered. That Seaside continues to stand strong in its vibrancy. And so with gratitude, I let go, I love, I appreciate, I move forth from here, being that in all that I am. So it is.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let go. And this is what you have to say. Come on. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here
For affirmation, big shout out once again to John Beethan. Last week it was 99 straight podcasts. Today will be his 100th podcasting the world, the audio. So we love you, John. Thank you for sharing it with the world. Our affirmation is, I do my part in bringing forth all that I am. Together, I do my part in bringing forth all that I am. Let's touch our heart and say it again. I do my part in bringing forth all that I am. One more time now that we got it. I do my part in bringing forth all that I am. And our song of grace.
Seaside. See you Friday. Gene Houston.